Could we be entering into the final season of Pep Guardiola at Manchester City? Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is going to centre around the big news story that was broken by the Daily Mail yesterday in regards to speculation mounting over the future of Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. Now, of course, as we know, Pep Guardiola is still licking his wounds, so to speak, from Saturday's FA Cup defeat at the hands of Manchester City's local rivals, Manchester United. But there has been a little bit of speculation that's been snowballing and gathering momentum over the past few weeks that maybe, just maybe, we are entering into the final year of Pep Guardiola managing Manchester City, and that at the end of the 2024-25 season, so next season, Pep might leave the Etihad for good and a new era will then begin. We're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about the potential of this. We're going to be talking about everything to do with Manchester City, with Pep Guardiola, and everything else in between. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it on this big topic. I'm sure it'll make for interesting, great reading. Otherwise, let's get into the video. Let's get on to talking about Pep Guardiola, Manchester City, and everything else in between. The news was broke last night by the Daily Mail by someone called Jack Gauhan. I hope I'm pronouncing that name. I'm sorry, I've completely butchered that name probably. But Jack Gauhan? I'm not sure how you would pronounce it. Anyway, I do apologise. But he basically broke the story late last night. He was basically saying that, Guardiola joined in 2016, has only got 12 months remaining on his deal, and he believes that there is enough speculation surrounding what he's been hearing to suggest that Pep Guardiola is seriously considering leaving next summer. Now, as we know from Guardiola, we know that obviously he will leave a decision very late. He doesn't like to rush into things. We know that obviously he'll take his time in his decision making, and this will obviously be a massive decision for him. But even then, when you look back over the past few weeks, I feel like in a few press conferences and interviews that Guardiola's done, I feel like he has been dropping a couple of hints here and there about calling time on his Manchester City career. I think obviously the one that sticks in my mind the most is the one where he goes, he's nearer the end of his Manchester City career than he is at the beginning. And that's obviously, that was obviously going to be true. Obviously, I don't think he needed to tell us that. It's very rare these days for a manager to stay as long as he has. But of course, when you have been as incredibly successful as him, of course you're going to stay. Of course you're going to be offered big money. Of course the fans are going to want you to stay. And of course you're going to want to try and ride this out to try and become or try and conquer a league the way that he has done. Is there other challenges on the horizon for him that maybe has piqued his interest? Potentially. I'm sure maybe the Spanish national team may come calling. I'm sure maybe other clubs that have other trophies to win and other challenges to maybe accomplish will come calling as well, and that may pique his interest. I'm not sure, but we obviously do know that in terms of obviously having a 9-year stay at a club, or what will become a 9-year stay at the end of next season, will become a little bit unprecedented in modern day times within modern day football. So it will be interesting to see if obviously this does occur. There has been, and I've been watching a few videos and things about with people, and they're saying about they have different sources, and they're claiming that there could be a massive overhaul and a massive change at Manchester City over the next few years, in which Guardiola may be the front of that, and he may be leaving, and it might topple a bit of a domino effect to a new era at Manchester City, new changes, new approaches, that kind of thing. And so if that is to happen, it'll be very interesting to see how Manchester City deal with that, how they respond to all of that, and whether they have a contingency plan in place, because obviously Guardiola leaving will be massive for Manchester City, but it's about what kind of plan they have in place for if he does leave. Do they actually have someone in mind? Are they potentially looking at someone? As I've said time and time again with the management situation right now, the managerial merry-go-round, as we like to call it, there's not anyone out there that's proven. And of course, to a lot of people, Guardiola's the best. Guardiola's the best in the business right now. And so the only way to go is down in terms of level. But is there anyone out there showing the potential that could fill in Pep's shoes? Right now, there may be a couple of names that instantly spring to mind, such as maybe a Xabi Alonso, maybe a Mikel Arteta, as bizarre and as crazy as that would be. But no one sticks out right now. Maybe in a year's time it might be different. Maybe in a year's time, Guardiola may decide to extend his stay. Maybe Guardiola actually does call time on his Manchester City career. A lot of things can obviously happen within a year, but I just found it interesting that this article goes on to say that the club's hierarchy fear that his 9th year in charge will represent the end. The use of fear, to me, obviously, you don't want this kind of good times to end, and you don't want the silverware to stop flowing. So it strikes me as maybe big change maybe on the horizon for Manchester City sooner than what maybe a lot of us would expect. But at the same time, do they have a contingency plan in place? Do they have a follow-up to Guardiola in place? I don't think they do right now, and that's why I think there could be a lot of fallout to this potential story. Like I said, I don't think Pep's going to mind too much about it. Pep's going to be Pep about it. He's going to be super cool about it, I imagine. And then he'll decide nearer the time on what is to happen. I mean, like I say, it's unprecedented for someone to stay as long as what he has. The reigns of like a Pep Guardiola and a Jurgen Klopp in the modern day era are very, very scarce. You very rarely get managers that stay at clubs that long with the quick turnover in management if things go wrong. How quickly a manager's head can get turned by a bigger prospect, by a bigger club maybe, by a different challenge, that kind of thing. So Guardiola's stay there, interesting to say the least, but it is very interesting just to obviously look over this and look over the potential of Guardiola leaving next summer. Obviously, I want to know what you guys think and feel on this. Do you think it is time, maybe? Maybe it's the right time for him. Maybe he might come out and say something similar to Jurgen Klopp, in which, he may want a break from football. He may want to go and live a quote-unquote normal life outside of football, like what Klopp basically said in his interview. I know he said obviously he's tired and that, but he also said that he wanted a normal life, and we can all kind of respect that. So maybe Guardiola's feeling the same way. And plus, after 9 years in which he's won a lot of trophies, he's had a ton of success over the years. He's managed to achieve something that Manchester City have never achieved in their history of a Champions League, multiple Premier League titles, doubles, triples, domestic triples, the triple. He has done so much for this club that maybe he just wants a new challenge. Maybe he wants to live a normal life that's away from football for maybe a year or two. Maybe there's something else on the horizon for him. There's obviously a lot. And I think what a lot of conspiracy theorists may do, and, there may be an element of truth to this story. I'm not going to lie. There may be an element of truth to connecting these two stories together. But obviously with the 115 charges, that kind of hearing looming over Manchester City, potentially getting closer to at least an initial punishment or initial sort of verdict, should we say, rather than punishment. I do apologise. Does this tie in together? along with that, of course, we know that the bookmakers are covering themselves by slashing and tearing the odds up for Manchester City to be relegated. They normally go from like 2000 to 2001, and now they've gone down to, I think, as low as 20 to 1, I think, at some bookmakers. With that happening, and with the stories and the snowballing speculation surrounding Pep Guardiola's future, is there something that we can link there, that maybe they know something that we don't about these 115 charges? Again, I'm not saying there is, and I'm not saying that we should read into it way too much. Maybe I am reading into it too much by posing the question. But is there something there that we should be wary of? Is there something there that we should be at least looking at and going, you know what, do these the guys know something we don't? Do the bookmakers know something we don't, or are they just covering themselves? Does Pep know something that we don't, or is he just, naturally reached the end of his time at Manchester City after 9 years of service with that club? Like I say, I don't know. I don't know if we'll read into it too much. Time will obviously tell on that one. So it'll be very interesting to see what does happen. What does happen there? What does happen with this story? But yeah, I'm very interested to know from Manchester City fans especially, that if this is to be Guardiola's last season, what do you expect the plan is for life after Pep Guardiola? Who do you want to come in? Who do you expect to come in? What do you expect? And how do you expect your team to continue to grow and evolve beyond Pep Guardiola? I'm very much interested to know all of these kinds of questions, what you guys think and feel on this story. Of course, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think, your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, on anything Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. I'm sure will make for great and interesting reading down below. So please do get involved down there. It will be great to hear from you all. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way up if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I was going to speak with you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all then very, very soon.